Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle with your host Kilu Nyasha and engineer Arnel Valle. And this evening I'm delighted to bring to you two war resistors. One is with Eddie Falcon with Iraq Veterans Against the War, and Michael Wong, Veterans for Peace and the Watata Support Committee, and also featured in the film Sir No Sir, which we'll talk a little bit about in a few minutes. And right now I'd like to go right to Eddie Falcon and ask about Iraq Vets Against the War.
Hi, yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, I'm with the organization Iraq Veterans Against the War, and our organization is composed mostly of, it's composed of veterans who served after 2001 in the Afghan theater or the Iraq theaters. And what we're dedicated to do is we have 3 points that we stand behind, and that's to bring the troops home now, and to get all benefits and everything for veterans who have served during the military, and also for reparations for the Iraqi people. And we have over 1,000 members, 45 chapters in over 48 states.
Right on. And what are some of the activities that you've been involved with the Iraq veterans?
Would you like with Iraq Veterans Against War, or
yeah.
Well, just today I was reading some names of. I do a number of things, but just this morning I was reading some names of some deceased soldiers that served in Iraq from California, over at the Embarcadero. We do things like that. We're having a barbecue tomorrow for veterans that served in the Iraq and Afghanistan theaters in the park in the Panhandle near Masonic and Fell. If there's any vets out there that want to come, you're welcome to come tomorrow at 1 p.m. Masonic and Fell in the Panhandle. We do things like that to get veterans connected with the outreach and things. And we also do go to we also do stage protests and other things like that in grassroots.
Yeah, you've marched in many protests, actually.
Yeah.
Because we've marched with you.
Yes. Any protests that are going on here in San Francisco, we're right out there in the front with our shirts and with our banners and, showing them that there's a veteran movement going on here, and there's people that have served in Iraq and Afghanistan and don't agree with the way that this policy is going right now over there.
Now, Eddie Falcon, you're with the Air Force, right? And you did 4 years, is that right?
Yes, I did 4 years in the Air Force.
And the tours of duty, I understand, are about 4 months each?
It depends on what your job was, but I was air crew. I was flying in. I was a airplane operator, so I'd have to fly with the planes. So we did 4 month tours. Our tours were a little shorter. They kind of babied the air crew people. So I did about 4 month tours, yes.
And what did you learn in the process, within those 4 years? What did you learn, and what turned you off about this imperialist occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan?
Many things just turned me off. I'd have to say a lot of things many different incidents opened my eyes. I can't name them all, but one thing that I'd like to talk about is one thing that really changed for me was when I actually started interacting with Iraqi people in Iraq. Being Air Force, you're pretty much stuck to base because you're not stationed in theater. Well, anybody's stuck to base anyway, pretty much now. But how I got to meet the Iraqi civilians was actually through prisoner detainee runs that I was doing from Baghdad to Basra, and back from Basra back to Baghdad. We would fill the planes up with about 69 to 70 people, prisoners that they had rounded up during some house raids or whatever was going on, and they would bring them to our plane, and the whole procedure was to not put any seats in for these people and to strap them down to the floor with cargo straps with their hands and legs chained and with bags over their heads or blindfolded. And when I saw that happening, I was like, man, this is really dehumanizing process. Are these really are these the terrorists? Are these the guys that they're talking about? And I asked the guy who was in charge of the NCOIC, and he was telling me that they weren't terrorists or anything like that. That most of these people were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They were in a house. It got raided. the rules of engagement are a little fuzzy. It changes from day to day. They tell you you can have 1 AK in a house per male family, or they say only 1 AK. So then, like, you think maybe these people are breaking the rules, but the rules are changing constantly, and so these people are getting like herded like cattle into prisons. I mean, we were constantly moving them back and forth, like 3 ships at a time, taking in like 100 and something prisoners and moving 100 and something out. And like and then so it just showed me, and then I asked him, you know, what are these people? These are people from their homes. He was saying they're just regular people, and I couldn't believe that we were treating regular people like this. And then now I know, like, the track record that the prisons have over in Iraq. When you see the Abu Ghraib photos, and when you hear about things like the waterboarding that's going on in Guantanamo Bay, I'm pretty sure the Basra prisons, where I'm transporting these people in and out to be interrogated and possibly tortured, I mean, it's not any different.
Right, and the U.S. Is spending something like almost $6 billion a month, and a book has already been written titled "The $3 Trillion War." So, not only are the taxpayers spending a ton of money that could be used for domestic
Anything better
than what it's being used for sure.
Right.
Let me go to Michael Wong. Would you describe Veterans for Peace a little bit, and how you came about becoming a war resister? You go back to the Vietnam War, even though you don't look like you could have
Yes,
been.
I'm actually much older than I look. I just had my 60th birthday last year, believe it or not.
That's amazing.
But no, during the Vietnam War, I was in the United States Army for 1 year. During that time, we were hearing a lot of stories about torture, atrocities, wiping out innocent civilians, both from air raids and from action on the ground, deliberately picking out civilians and murdering them. And during the time that I was and we were hearing this from our sergeants and our instructors, who were just soldiers who had just recently returned from Vietnam. So we were hearing it from firsthand from the soldiers who were involved in this or who saw this going on. And we were not, the peace movement had been telling us it had been going on, but it became real when our own soldiers told us that, yes, they saw it, it's real. And then during the time that I was in, the My Lai massacre hit the front pages, where 500 Vietnamese civilians, old men, women, and children, were rounded up and massacred by an American platoon.
Right. And Calley was the one who took the rap.
Calley,
Lieutenant
yes.
Calley took the rap for that. But
Right, but actually the orders came down, or I shouldn't